that time will never ever come back once again. And that's why many people, they regret what they've done in their young days. That some people may make tawbah, some people may not even have the ability to repent, may be taken inside those young days of disobedience. As many scholars have mentioned, Ya ma'ashar al-shabab, or young individuals, i'malu, carry out the action when you're young. Because just like you see the sun towards Asr time, or as it begins to decline, the power, the rays of the sun begin to weaken. That's an elderly individual. It's still a sun, but it doesn't have that power. The prime time of the sun is straight at the time of the meridian, right in the middle, whereby the rays of the sun are the most powerful, whereby one can offer more service and dedication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the prime time of being a young individual. Likewise, trees in general. There's only a few trees that give fruits after 200, 300 years, 400 years. They're very rare trees they are. The natural sunnah, the natural format of trees, they have a certain lifespan that they give fruits. After that lifespan, they no longer give fruits. Still call it a tree, but it could be a bark. It could be just the shank that's left there, that's all. Still you may call it a tree. The real tree is the tree that its branches or its firm roots are in the ground. أَصْلُهَا ثَابِتٌ وَفَرْعُهَا فِي السَّمَاءِ. Deep in the ground, and its branches are up in the heavens. تُؤْتِي أُكُلَهَا كُلَّ حِينٍ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهَا. And every so often, it gives out its fruits. The fruits are best given at a prime age. The prime age, once again, is when an individual is young. Those are the best fruits that a person can eat and a person can pick. After that, the time span is over to give the true fruits. So we find that those individuals, the role of the youth previously, الَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِلَّهِ وَلِلرَّسُولِ, those who responded to the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger, they were young individuals. Go back and read through the seerah. A large portion of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were young men, young women who were around him at a young age. And even the Quran talks about many different parables about young individuals. Surah Al-Kahf, 18th chapter of the Quran. إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. Indeed, they were young boys who believed in the Lord, and we increased them in guidance. So you need both. You need the wisdom of the young individuals, but more so you need the young individuals. The future of the Muslim Ummah rests upon the state of our Muslim youth. The more wholesome, the more pure as we began with our Muslim youth, the more the future will become more bright for this Muslim Ummah once again. Likewise, we find in Surah Al-Buruj, you read the tafsir, the 86th chapter of the Quran, if I'm not mistaken, the story of the boy and the king. There's one boy, one young boy, who had this powerful impact upon the wider society. Likewise, we find a mass amount of the companions. If you look through the ages, Uthman ibn Affan, age of 20, Suhaib al-Rumi, age of 19, Ali, Sa'd ibn Waqqas, Zayd ibn Haritha, all these various companions, Arqam ibn Abi al-Arqam at the age of 11, with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mu'adh ibn Jabal, a young individual, riding with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying to him, Ya Mu'adh, inni uhibbuk, indeed I love you. Ya Mu'adh, I want to teach you some words. Immense love and devotion he had towards these young individuals. Another companion riding once with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his eyes fall upon a young woman. That's why sometimes people think that they were maybe angelic in their form, that they never had such feelings and such desires. They did. Young companion looks at a young woman. The Prophet Muhammad pushes his head away, pushes it away to the side. He naturally looks again. Again the Prophet Muhammad pushes his face away to the side. So they had inclinations, they looked, they had a feeling, but it was his job to teach them that this is incorrect. لَكَ الْأُولَى وَلَيْسَ لَكَ الثَّانِيَةِ. You have every right to see the first glance, accidental glance, but you have no right to follow it up with a second glance. So he was well aware, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about his community, about his people, the temptations around him, and knew how to change them. Even if you find a very strange hadith, a young man comes and he says, give me permission to commit zina. Imagine that today, coming to Imam and saying to Imam, I want to commit zina. What did the Prophet Muhammad say to this young individual? He said, do you have an aunt? He said, yes, I have an aunt. May my mother and father be sacrificed for you. He said, would you like someone to do this action with your aunt? He said, no. He said, that's how people are. Would you like it for your mother? He said, no, but that's how people are. Your paternal aunt, your sister, etc. The young boy says no. Emotionally setting his mindset that you don't like this action for your family members, how can you like it for other family members? And then the Prophet Muhammad placed his blessed hand upon his chest and prayed for him and then said about him, Allahumma ahsin farjahu. Oh Allah, guard his chastity, his private parts. And this young individual was never ever seen looking at strange women ever again in his life. Likewise, we find Usama ibn Zayd, and his famous companion, who just at the age of 20, at the age of 20 is placed the leader of the army. Can you imagine that? 20 years old. What are most 20-year-old young boys doing at the moment? Can't even get themselves out of bed at the moment. Till half of the day has gone by. These young individuals are being placed to be a leader of a complete army at the age of 20. Something to think about for our Muslim youth today. Maybe some of us think that maybe they don't know anything about designer labels or living a good life. Go and read the seerah, the life of Mus'ab ibn Umayr. He used to wear the best clothing as a young boy. That his clothing would be brought over from Yemen, and when he walked through the marketplace, everyone knew that Mus'ab ibn Umayr had just walked through with the fragrance, the perfume that he was wearing. Everybody knew he just walked past this marketplace. This same individual gives up the designer labels, gives up seeking this designer life, that he really sees that towards the end of his life. You find that when he dies as a shaheed, and they go to bury him, the only thing they find is one piece of cloth. They cover his head, his feet begin to show. They cover his feet, his head begins to show. This is the same individual who wore the latest garments. This is the same individual who had everything of the dunya given to him, and this is the same individual now, while serving the Prophet Muhammad, has nothing to cover him. So the Prophet Muhammad says, cover his head and cover his feet with idkhir, a green plant, grass that grows, place that upon his feet, and this is the way he is buried. Many young companions, they would weep, remembering Mus'ab ibn Umayr, about his position, the way that he'd been taken away from this dunya, of how this individual had given up his lavish lifestyle to become a committed individual. Zayd ibn Thabit is the one who collected the Quran and put it together. When Abu Bakr came to him and said to him, we want you to start collecting the Quran, placing it together in one manuscript form. And the key words that Abu Bakr said to him was, إِنَّكَ لَرَجُلٌ شَابٌ عَاقِلٌ. You're a young, intelligent man, and there's no blame upon you. Once again, how many of our young individuals today are highly intelligent? How many of our young individuals are highly skilled with their mind? Not many, are they? Studies have shown inside this country, the most uneducated individuals inside this country out of the minorities happens to be the Muslims. That is a reality, that is a fact. The most uneducated individuals happens to be the Muslims. Hassan al-Hussein, Sayyida Ahl Jannah. Hassan al-Hussein, the two grandchildren, are the leaders of the children inside paradise. Young individuals climbing on the back of the Prophet Muhammad. So in his prayer, he would carry them. Today, bring children to the masjid, get rid of the children out of the masjid. So where do you want them?